On this episode of Street Rat Garage, we are bringing back an old favorite, my 1977 Monte Carlo. Let's get it back out on the street. Now, for those that do not know, this 77 Monte Carlo is what I drove in high school. This is not my first car, but it's probably, I don't know, my 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th car maybe. I started buying cars when I was 14, so I had a few cars, not a lot, but a few before I reached 17 when I bought this car. And well, it's been down a lot. This is also the very first car that I had an auto loan on. I paid like $3,500, I think, for this car. And I had to get an auto loan, and I was paying $100 every month. And well, that was a struggle back then. It's not like today. $100 would have been no problem. But I worked part-time jobs and got this paid off. It took like 3 or 4 years, but I finally paid it off. So before I even got it paid off, it broke down. I think it needed a head job. Had to pull that apart, and then later I blew the engine, and then I blew another engine, and after that I blew an engine. In between those engine blows and takedowns and heads and all that stuff, it would sit, and I would just buy another car and I'd drive it. It sat in my parents' garage for years and years, and then I got it going again, and it sat again after I blew another engine. And finally it sat for about 10 years until I got it back out and started working on it. During that time, all sorts of things happened to it. I hit a pole with this fender, just pushing it out of the garage one day, had to replace a fender. The doors were rusting. I replaced that door. The quarter panels started to rust. I had one of my buddies put some new quarter skins on it. Mice got into the interior. The floor pans had to be patched. Everything had to be done to this car because it was in a garage about half the time. The other half the time it had to sit outside in the rain and the elements. The windshield got cracked. We put a new windshield in it. It had a half vinyl top on it, tore that off. The interior's all been changed out. It had Camaro bucket seats in it at one time out of an IROC, and a IROC center console. Ran that for a while, took it all back out. Put swivel buckets back in it, which it had to begin with originally. Lots of work. There's hardly any of the original car left besides the frame and the roof. The trunk lid's been changed like 2 times. Fiberglass hood I had to go find and put on it. The original hood blew up one day when I was going down the street. I didn't have it latched. Bent all that up. Another hood. What else did I do to it? Lots and lots of stuff. I changed the rear end out from underneath of it. It has like a 342 with a posi. No, it has not a posi track, but it has a mini spool in it. So got all that put together. This front header panel is not even original. Neither is this bumper, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because I did one of those deals where you hook the chain right there to the bumper and pull it around instead of underneath like you're supposed to. But we got a header panel and a bumper and a core support. The core support's not even original. None of the doghouse is original. This is a different fender off of another car. Nothing here. Maybe that door. I think that door on the passenger side, yeah, it's the original door. That's all I have left. The dashboard, the entire dashboard was all cracked. I took everything out. This is actually from a Malibu. This says Laguna here instead of having the Monte Carlo emblem. So that is totally different. The center console is out of, I think the same car the fenders came out of. The steering column is different. There's nothing in here but, yeah, this door right here, original door. That's what we have. But I changed all these parts myself. Nobody helped me do any of this. Even the door hinges are not from this car nor that door. So we hodgepodge this together, you know, but that's part of the fun of it. Putting this thing together and just using whatever pieces we can find to make it run down the street, which it hasn't done for a long time. So this is a Chevy 350 engine. It came out of a 72, I think, Chevy truck, which had this engine swapped into it from probably a square body truck, according to these numbers on the block. So it wasn't even the original engine to that truck. This is your average everyday, find them all over Facebook Marketplace for like $300 to $500 square body 350 Chevy engine, which produces like, you know, 200 and something horsepower, 225, 250, something like that. But we did put an aluminum intake on it. We put a Holley carburetor on it, and well, that's pretty much it. We put some chrome on it, so that should make it go faster. So this engine I originally got together to put in my 69 Chevelle, and we put it in there. We ran it on Hot Rod Power Tour. We didn't run it, we towed it. Well, it went on Hot Rod Power Tour and drove around the venues. You had a good time with it. Then we decided to put it in the Monte Carlo to make the Monte Carlo run again. Get it going, do something with this car. But there's something not quite right with the engine. It's falling on its face whenever it warms up. It's like a distributor issue or something. So let's get this thing fired up and let's listen to it and try to figure out what the deal is with this car. Okay, I am over here in the car and I am going to try to fire it up. It's got an electric fuel pump on it, so we'll prime that. Give it a couple pumps. Oh, you heard that, right? I have to shim the starter. All right. There's no choke on the carburetor, so it takes a couple hits. You hear that starter whining? It shouldn't do that. That means starter's too close to the flywheel. Oh, come on, warm up, warm up, warm up. Let's move it out a little bit here. Come on. Running over the transmission we have sitting in front of it. There we go. Okay, now that we have it all in position, I think the first thing we need to do is check the timing on this. Actually, she's not wanting to idle very well. It might not be warm enough yet. I don't know if you can hear it or not, how it stutters when you rev it up. Actually flutters like the ignition is cutting out. Right there. Right there. It might be too much fuel too. Not exactly sure, but we need it to idle, which it does not want to do. Oh, we gotta fix that. We gotta shim that starter before we tear something up. Come on, idle like you're supposed to. Oh, is that gonna do it? No, keep idling. Okay. Well, let's put this timing light on it and see if we can't get it in adjustment a little bit better. All right, let's see what we got here. We have our advance unhooked. No, we don't. Hold on, I gotta unhook that first. All right, let's see what she's sitting at. Ah, man, I can't even see the mark. It must be way off. Where's the mark at? There it is. A little bit bright. A little bit bright in here, so it's kind of hard to see what we're doing. Let's advance him up a little bit. She was way, way off. A little bit more. Can't believe how far off this is. No wonder it's not running well. Wow, that's way better. Just have to set the timing properly, and yeah, things have a tendency to run way better. Well, that should do it. We'll lock down the distributor and we'll be ready to go. There's a good chance that I got in some sort of hurry when I dropped this engine in and we didn't get it timed. I really thought we did, or I didn't have that distributor locked down and it backed off. One of those things, but she sounds a lot better now. Timing is a big factor in this. If you don't have it right, she's not going to run very well. Well, now we have immediately run into our next problem. It's sitting at 200 degrees and the fans were not running. It has these cheapy imported fans, and for some reason they are not kicking on. So that is another issue. We need cooling in this in order to go down the road. All right. I found the problem. There was a loose wire, actually the one that goes inside the cabin area there. Now all the fans work, but we have a problem here with all this wiring. It is an absolute mess around here. Everything's just laying around here from where I just slopped it in and well, just made it work temporarily. So I don't want this to be a temporary fix. I want this to be a temporary permanent fix. So we're gonna have to temporarily permanently fix this a little bit better. We're gonna have to go and buy some wire loom for that or something. We gotta get it from dangling all around there and wire it here so it's not like just laying across the engine, all that fun stuff. So we got a little bit of work to do. I'm gonna have to go and buy some materials. So this was a short day. Some people came by and wanted some vehicles. So we were out there trying to sell some cars. So that's what happened to most of my day today. So we're gonna pick this up again in a day or two and continue on. But for you, it'll be instantaneous. So be right back. Okay, so that was more than a day or two, but I am back. It was more like a week, and I have made some changes to the audio. So a lot of people have been complaining about the audio on my videos, so I've been having some problems with the microphones. Brand new microphones. Now these are just out of the box and have not been tested at all, but it's supposed to have a lot of auto features. You're supposed to, you know, take it out and hardly adjust anything. So you let me know how it sounds from this point on, as opposed to that previous segments that we did from the start to this point. Hopefully this is going to solve a lot of the problems. Audio is good to have on your videos. Good audio is good to have on your videos. But now we are at the point, we were talking about wiring. I still haven't bought any wiring looms, but I did get some starter shims, which we desperately need before we rip the teeth off of the flywheel or the starter. But knowing my luck, it would be the flywheel. I'm gonna jack this up. We're gonna get under it and we're gonna have a look under here and see why it is making that hideous noise. Let's slide the old jack up underneath here and too high. Find some place to hook onto. Get this sucker jacked up. What's that oil right there on the ground? That wasn't there before. obviously we're leaking something. We'll have to check that out as well. Okay, let's crawl under here and where is this coming from? Straight up is the gearbox, which is not connected yet. So I haven't put the power steering pump in. So when I'm turning the wheel, apparently it's spewing out a little bit. So no big deal on that, but I think we have a transmission leak back there as well. So we'll have to hunt that down and try to cure that as well. So what are we under here for again? Oh, starter shims, right. Oh, they're over there. I forgot to bring them with me. Hold on, I'll be back again. Okay, rule number one, when you're crawling under a car and you don't have a lift, bring your tools and the parts that you need before you crawl underneath of the car, because it's no fun crawling inside, in and out. All right. Okay, let's crawl under here. I'm not even going to tell you that I forgot the drop light. Had to crawl out again. Oh no, that's a staggered. It's a staggered shims. And I bought the straight shims. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Here, look at this. Okay, so this is the Chevy starter, and they come with two different patterns. This is the staggered one. Normally, I have the straight back and forth ones because I'm used to my mini starter, which I thought I had on here, and I don't. So I bought the straight across shims and not the, yeah, that one. But the problem we're having here is this starter flywheel. It's an aftermarket, and this is a factory starter, and she's grinding on the gears here, which it looks okay. I don't think I hurt any of these gears. There's a little bit of a chip right there, but I don't think that's any big deal. Hopefully not. Can't see too far up there. Hopefully this, I didn't hurt this flywheel doing all that grinding on it. That would be a problem, but let's go back to the parts store. And I just ran to the store and I got a shim. This is the kind that we need, not the straight kind. So let's crawl back underneath there, take all our stuff, take all our tools, and try to shim the starter again. Okay, now we're ready. We got the right tool. Well, that's tight. Is that going the right way? Tell me something else is wrong. There she goes. Got the right tool. Got the right part, hopefully. And, oh, lovely. Well, now the header is in the way and I can't get the ratchet on there, so we don't have the right tool. This is why it takes me so long to do anything, because it's always something. One of these days I'm gonna buy a lift and it's gonna make everything so much easier. You know, okay, well, I'm gonna drop the starter down a little bit. We'll slide the shim in and then we'll see if she spins over nice. Okay, I was able to get the starter down. Just had to use a box end to get to that other bolt, and was able to slip the shim right in there because it has one end that's open. And yeah, she's shimmed up, so hopefully that's gonna do it and we don't have to try to shim it again. So let's go up top and see what she sounds like now. Okay, that is a whole lot of no fun crawling around on the ground, but man, I hope this worked. Let's find out. Oh, that sounded good. Yeah, I'd say that's good enough. It sounds a little hair whiny, but that was the thickest shim in the box. I don't think I want to put two in there. I like that. Just as long as the teeth aren't grinding, I'm going to be happy with that. So yeah, she sounds good. Why didn't she start though? Give it a couple pumps. There we go. Yeah, I'm good with that. Now that we have the starter issue all hammered out, so to speak, we have another issue up here. We have our kickdown cable, and well, it's never been connected. It's missing the little bolts. There's a little stud you can get for these carburetors that stick out here, and you can just slide these on and over. Well, we don't have that, but we do have a nut and bolt and a couple washers that we can put on there as another temporary permanent fix, so we can at least have a little kick down action. You can run these cars without having the kick down. You just got to downshift them yourself, but it's not going to hurt anything like it does, I think, the Mopars. You can burn up the transmissions, but the Chevys are okay with it. So let's get that in there so we can have some kick down action. Yeah, this bolt is definitely way too long for doing this, but we'll order, maybe, probably not, but we'll order from Holly or somebody the little stud that goes on there to make it look right, because this looks a little rigged up, which that's exactly what it is. It is a little rigged up, but just as long as it works, I will be happy. There we go. That should be good to go. Okay, another test start. Make sure the linkage and everything works on the throttle since we've fooled with that. There we go. Sounds like it's missing when I'm giving it throttle. Hesitating a little bit. If I throttle it up right there, just lightly, right about there, that's a definite miss. So if I get up here in the higher RPM, it's okay. Right there, see, dead. I don't think that's fuel. I think that's spark. I think there's something wrong with there's still something wrong with their distributor or our vacuum advance, even though that we tuned it. Did we plug the vacuum advance back in? Make sure. Yeah, that's plugged in. Well, I just unplugged it and it died, so obviously it's working. Okay, I'm gonna try timing it again. It has a stock harmonic balancer with the rubber on it, and there's maybe a chance that that has slipped a little bit and we're not getting an accurate reading off of that. So I'm pretty much gonna rev it up until she stops advancing, lock it down and see how that does. And it's a little bit difficult to do this with only one person and two hands. So I'm just kind of checking it. Oops, wrong way. Advancing it. Keeping an eye on where I'm at. Trying to remember where it was. Advancing it a little bit more. See if it's moving. Check it. Move it a little bit more. Check it. Okay. I think we're going to be happy there. It's a little bit of a guessing game if the numbers are not correct on the balancer, if the mark's not right. But I'm checking it at idle, and I'm checking it at high throttle. I think I'm going to lock it down there and see how it does. Then kind of listen to it right here.
sounds pretty good right there. Well, everybody, I think we messed up. It was starting real good, but now we have a problem. Oh, yeah, that would be the flywheel and the starter grinding together and ripping all the teeth off of both of them, I believe. I looked under there and there's some shavings. It's not good. I mean, I think I waited too long. I messed around with it and procrastinated a little too long before we put that shim in there. And I think we ground down the teeth before, and spacing it properly, I think just sheared a couple of those teeth off that were ground out too far. So we're boned on this one. So what are we gonna do? Well, the original plan was to put that engine and transmission back in this Chevelle. That came out of this Chevelle. We put it into Monte Carlo to try to make a hot rod power tour, and that didn't work. I wanted to get that engine and transmission going to test out the Monte Carlo, make sure all the suspension and brakes and everything were functioning good on that car, and then LS swap that Monte Carlo. If I'm gonna have to pull the transmission out, you know what? I'm just gonna yank the whole engine and transmission out in one unit, change the flywheel, change the starter, put it back into the 1969 Chevy Chevelle, which I'm pretty sure some of you people are gonna be pretty happy to see this back out on the road. This actually made it to Hot Rod Power Tour 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yes. So it's been off the road for 2 years. We're gonna make this run again. We're gonna use that engine, that transmission. Engine's good, transmission's good. I want to change the stall converter out because that stall converter was too high anyway. So since we have to change the flywheel out, might as well put a more streetable stall converter in there, put a stock flex plate in there, put another stock starter on there, throw it back in here, and make this something we can drive on the street without any problems. So yeah. So sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some, but at least we got the timing set on this thing, and never leave the jack handles just laying out underneath the car. And that can be bad. It runs. It sounds pretty good. There's also a bolt that I have to tap out to put the power steering pump on anyway, which I don't think that car has power steering, or does it? I can't remember. Anyway, we're gonna fix that too. Stall converter, flex plate, starter, pull it out, put it in the Chevelle, make the Chevelle run and drive down the road. LS swap this car. Finally doing something with this. So that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Street Rag Garage. Until next time.